Hey guys, how's it going? Black Boy here. Today I want to talk about a video that I thought I had done, but realized that I didn't, and I accidentally, I guess, erased all of my footage. So redoing this video. Um, so it's about a piece of equipment that I use a lot, and like I said, I thought I made this video, but I realized in this video right here, going over the Walrus Audio reamping box, that I did not have a video on this item. So here we go. What is it? Well, it's this right here, my DI box. So sit back, relax, and let's dive in to what a direct box is. All right, guys. So like I said, this is a video on one of the most important items I have in my home recording studio, which is this right here, my direct box. Now, you guys are probably wondering, Black Boy, what is a direct box? Well, as you guys can see right here, I am on the Radio Engineering website, and this is I may be on the radio website, but this is just a great overview of what a direct box is. And as you guys can see right here, it says, what exactly is a direct box? A DI box, also called a direct box, converts the unbalanced high impedance signal output of an instrument to a balanced low impedance mic level signal. And as you guys can see right here, we have a picture. We have the guitar going into the DI box, going into the mixer, going into a PA system. So, as this alludes right here in the very simple form, is that when recording, or even when playing a live show, your instrument, if you're playing a guitar or bass, the output of that instrument level is very high impedance. Now, when running into a mixer or an interface, a lot of those inputs, some may be just mic level, which is a low impedance, which means the signal coming out of your instrument would be very hot, very boom. So you need some way to convert that to a low impedance signal, or a mic level signal. Now, some mixers and some interfaces are able to do both free and clear. That's good. That's great. But there are also other reasons why we would use a direct box. Now, continuing on, right? It says right here, this enables the signal to travel a distance of 100 meters or 300 feet without adding appreciable noise. The output of a DI box is mic level. Thus, the balanced output signal is treated just like a microphone. When playing live, the mixing console is usually positioned in the house, or for in other words, front of house or FOH position, which is often 50 to 100 meters away. Most instruments such as bass guitar, acoustic guitars, and keyboards are connected to a DI box and mixer at the FOH. For the sound engineer, capturing the direct sound of the instrument separate from being processed by the artist on stage, in other words, using a direct box to capture the signal coming straight off the instrument, rather than from the cab or amp on stage. So that's what that's saying right there. Usually makes it easier to amplify the signal, as it can be optimized for the room. Once again, getting the signal directly off the instrument makes it easier for the sound engineer in the FOH position to mix that sound from for the room that it is in. Now, we don't really need to talk about balance and unbalance, impedance. It's all right here. If you guys want to go ahead and look at that, go ahead, pause it really quickly and read that. Now, why do I need a direct box? A DI box is primarily used to allow you to run long cables for instruments such as electric guitars or bass guitars without adding noise or losing signal quality. So once again, if you have these long cable runs, right? As you guys can see right here, it says 8 meters or 25 feet. So if you have a cable that's like a 50-foot cable or something like that, and you're using that as your guitar cable, running from your guitar to your pedal board or directly into your amp or even into your interface, there is a good possibility of introducing noise, which will degrade the sound. Having a DI box that, eliminates most of that. So let's see, losing quality, high impedance signals tend to be much more prone to noise, and keeping cable length under 8 meters or 25 feet is recommended. In the studio, recording from a separate room, isolation booth. So if, like for me, this right here is my control room, but my live room is in a different room. So, having to use cables to record in a different room is what it's talking about right here. In a studio, recording from a separate room, isolation booth, enables the engineer to capture a direct sound from the instrument using the direct box, in addition to adding a mic in the front of the amplifier to capture the tone generated by the amp. So this is saying you use this, you capture the signal that comes out of the guitar. So normally a dry track is what a lot of people like to call it. Then from here, it runs into the cabinet or into the amp, which is plugged into the cabinet. You have a microphone miking up the cabinet, and then you get also that sound. So that's normally, the amp sound or the wet sound or whatever. Anyways, when recording in the control room, you may or may not need a DI box depending on the tone you are looking for. I.e., if you're recording directly into your interface and you have a plugin that you like and for sure that's the sound you're going for, you don't need a DI box as long as you have the cable is under 25 feet. Anyways, looking for most mixer inputs have a one-size-fit-all type of instrument input that may not flatter your particular instrument. A good DI box is optimized to interface with your mixing desk or recording system by presenting the instrument with the right input impedance and converts it to a balanced signal, ideal for the console or interface. This can take the edge off your instrument for a smoother, more natural sound. Using a good DI box in the studio also allows for a clean recording of the instrument signal, which can then be later playback for reamping. Now, like I said, I already did a video on my reamp box, and that is why we use this. Like I said, I might record a guitar or bass and take a dry track off of here or a direct signal off of this from my instrument, and then also run that into my amp and cab, or maybe throw a plugin on it and record it, that day. Then while mixing it, a couple of days later, realize I'm not really liking that sound. Well, because I was able to take a direct signal or a dry track, not pretty much directly off the instrument, what it sounds like flat by itself, now I'm able to reamp it. So there's a video here. We're not going to use it. And one more thing before we dive into the particular DI box that I have. What kind of DI box should I get? This is like asking, what type of microphone should I buy? There are basically two types of direct boxes: an active direct box, which is what this one is right here, and a passive direct box. But just as there are all kinds of microphones for all kinds of applications, there are different kinds and configurations of direct boxes for different applications. Just as you can buy a dynamic microphone like the Shure SM58 to capture sounds of just about anything, you could buy the radial JDI passive direct box and be pretty much set. But sometimes using a condenser mic can give you an extra, just that little extra reach to capture more sparkle for an acoustic guitar or more details from a voice when recording. In this case, an active DI box like the Radial J48 is the best choice. Like dynamic microphones, a passive direct box tends to be able to handle more signal levels without distortion, while a condenser mic, like an active DI box, generally produces a wide frequency response while being more sensitive. And just as most studios and live stages are equipped with a selection of selection of dynamic and condenser mics, both passive and active DI boxes are often used side by side. The choice usually comes down to personal preference. All right, so that right there is the whole background on stage box. Oh, well, not background, I should say the whole rundown of what is a stage box and why you need one and when you should use one and what type of stage box do you need. Now, like I said, I right here have the OnStage DB1000, which is an active direct box. Now, looking at this stage box, it's pretty simple, okay? This is what I'm going to call the front. We'll call this the top, and we'll call this the bottom. Okay. So, looking at the front of the stage box, we can see that it is an active direct box. It has 48 phantom power. Yeah, actually, I think it needs 48 phantom power, to work. That's what it means. So this needs 48 phantom power to work. Now, looking at the top, right here, we have our output, a ground lift, and an LED power light. Now, this output, as you can see right here, it says this is the low Z or low impedance output. Ground lift, down is on, up is off, and then the LED power. On the bottom, we have the input, pad, and a pass-through. So input here, pass-through right here, and this pad has negative 15 dB up in the up position and 0 dB in the down position. Now, it's very simple how you would plug this in and how you would work and how it works. So your guitar or bass, so your instrument or keyboards, your instrument comes into the input signal right here. This through would then run to your cabinet or amp. The low output runs directly to either your mixer or your interface. And boom, that is it. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Now, let me put this up again, and we will run through, like I said, really quickly, what this sounds like, and I'll let you guys hear how it works. All right, guys. Well, that was it. And I really like having a direct box in my studio. Now, I didn't show you guys what it sounds like coming out of my cab. This was just, like I said, wanting you guys to hear what it sounded like coming out of the direct box directly into the interface. You know, boom, the dry sound. And I did use some of the audio for the camera just so you guys could hear the in-room sound. Now, I only have this on-stage active direct box. I do want to get a passive direct box, and I probably will get one sooner. Now, for me personally, I like using my active direct box on all of my passive instruments. So all of my instruments that are passive, that's when I really like using this active one, giving it a little boost. If I had a passive direct box, I would like to use that generally on all of my active instruments. So pretty much I like to use this direct box on whatever is the opposite, on whatever instruments are opposite of that. Very, very, simple and very easy to get a hold of that, or that train thought. Now, that's how I like to do it. Doesn't mean that's how you have to do it, but that's just one of the things I like to do. Now, would I recommend getting a direct box? Well, yeah, I do. Not only is it good to have a nice dry track as a backup, so that way you can reamp like in my reamping video, but also you can use this like stated in live performances. That way you can have an extra signal, which makes it easier to amplify and EQ that signal for the type of room you're in when playing a show. I highly recommend you guys would get a direct box if you're playing shows or even having a home recording studio. Whether it be an active or a passive one first, it really doesn't matter, but I do recommend that everyone should get a DI box, whether it be on stage, radio, or whatever else direct boxes are out there. Well, guys, that's all the time we have for today. I hope this video was very helpful and very insightful. If you guys have any questions, comments, go ahead, drop them down in the comment section down below. I do read all of my comments, even though I might not respond to all of them. I do read them. I'd like to thank you guys all for watching my video. And until next time, remember, keep practicing.